Today I welcome Kim Potgieter, a prominent, successful figure in the financial planning industry. Kim is a published author, speaker, director at Chartered Wealth Solutions, a financial planning practice, expert financial planner, as well as a wife and mother to 3 beautiful children. It is such a privilege to have you here with us today, Kim. Thanks you so much.
Thanks, Cami, for having me.
Today, Kim is going to share with us her insight on the financial support and dependency of adult children. Kim, why would you say this topic is so important and relevant in every financial planning discussion?
So, Cami, I think for me it's twofold. I mean, the first one is, you say I've got 3 children, but my oldest is now 29, 21, and 16. So I have adult children, so I can talk from first-hand experience. But I'm also talking as a CFP professional. I work with clients every day, and while I'm working with them, and I'm helping them plan their midlife and their retirements, and what I'm seeing over and over again is a common thread of how many times people have planned their money so it can last them for their lifetimes, but they never thought of supporting adult children. And what I mean by that is so many times now they thought of supporting their children until they were 20, and now children are needing financial support post 20, and it's not in the financial planning. And that's why it's a topic that I thought would be interesting for you and I to discuss today.
Personally, I can resonate with that. Coming from a close-knit family, I know the struggles my parents had to let go. I mean, my sister and I were eager for independence. And my parents were, do you have comprehensive medical aid cover? So I get that. So when is the right time to stop supporting your children financially?
So I think every single person is different. So I don't think we must go and say there's a certain age you need to stop. But what I think is important is that you're having the discussion with your adult child. So you say now that your parents didn't let go. So I see it 2 ways, because sometimes it's the children don't let go, and sometimes it's the parents don't let go. And again, so what I'm saying is there's no perfect age, but have the discussion together and actually contract and say, we're going to pay for your education to this time because this is what we can afford, and then it's not going to have a major impact on our financial standing. So for me, that's important, is that conversation with your adult child about what you're going to give and from their point of view, so they don't have unrealistic expectations.
Do you think as mums, I mean, we're natural nurturers, it's in our DNA. Do you think we overcompensate, or is it a fear of the empty nest?
So yeah, we're just so used to it. So as a woman, I think we're in that role of not putting ourselves first ever. So when we do have children, it's thinking about our children and making sure that they're fine. And it's very hard for a woman to change gears and to say now she's going to think about herself, because she goes, I feel so guilty, I'm thinking about myself. It's just to, as a woman, to think about it and say, am I serving my children? Because at the end of the day, our children are needing to stand on their own. So what your parents were doing with you was really they were holding on, because it was their role and was where they were adding value. So they wanted to stay contributing to your life so that they felt like they were part of it. So yeah, just to think about if that's happening, or whether sometimes children get into such a comfort place. So we as parents will pay for this, we'll pay for that, and then we're not expecting our children to do it, and then guess what? One day they can't do it for themselves. And I often have to say to a woman, and this is how I get them to really change gears that I was talking about, I say to them, do you want to ever be dependent on your children? No, absolutely not. I don't want my children to have to pay for me. I said, if you carry on spending on your adult children the way you're spending now, you will be reliant on your children one day. And that often changes the pattern. And I do think it's just a pattern we get into.
Even though I know the typical life stage cycle is far from reality, I've always envisioned, after the child's schooling journey is over, there's an empty nest. I mean, my 7-year-old, she often comments, Mom, Dad, I'm going to live with you guys forever, which is really cute. But how do you break that habit of supporting your adult children financially?
So Cami, I think it even starts with where your daughter is now, because the research I've done that shows that we form our relationships with money before we turn 7. So everything that you're doing with your daughter now is so vitally important in the discussions. So I think as parents, what we need to do is start weaning ourselves off. And I know this sounds terrible, because when your daughter's saying that at 7, and my daughter's 16 and she's already getting ready to plan to go to university, and I'm sort of wanting to hold on. But I'm not going to equip her well to go out into the world if I'm not already teaching her about money and about how she should be working with it. So I believe in pocket money. So I really do believe we should be giving our children pocket money. And then when they go to university, I don't believe if they do go to university and they're fortunate enough, I don't believe we should be paying for everything and then, letting them send us the bills. We should be giving them allowance. They should be learning how to work with money. They should be understanding, and I think this is the big one, and I talk as a mom, when I say we don't want our children to suffer, we don't want our children to struggle, so we go in and we're kind of trying to fix everything for them, so we're helping them to have everything. But what that's not equipping them for is when they get their first jobs. So now they get their first jobs and they're earning less than their expenses because we as parents have been contributing. So I think to put our children on a budget when they're at university is really important. I think also just letting them learn to work with it and letting them learn to work within their means. Just because they're at university and we've lived a certain way at home doesn't mean they need to be living that as well. And let me just tell you, I'm probably not very popular with a lot of my clients' children, because they'll come in and they'll say, I said to my kids, Kim says. But again, I think it's just so important for that relationship between child and parent that they're open to having these kind of discussions before it becomes a problem and your child doesn't know how to do it on their own without you.
And then the possible, detriment that it can cause on the parent's financial plan.
Well, that's what I'm seeing. So I work with people and I'm showing them that they're not coming out on what we've agreed to they're going to be spending. Let's just take it in retirement. And then they'll say to me, but because I get them to draw up, not a budget, a spending plan of where their money's going. And then we start looking. It's my adult daughter's insurance. It's my son's medical aid. And then I start showing them that if you carry on like this, your money is going to run out before you are 80. Never mind 100, which we're planning to. And that's when it really hits home. And that's when I need to often call in adult children to have these kind of discussions. So, Cami, get it right now with your daughter, having those conversations, having the pocket money, setting the expectations, because I don't think it's fair to either of us when we're supporting adult children.
Do you have any tips to break some of those bad habits?
I think the biggest bad habit that we have is not talking about it. So I'm one who advocates lots of conversations around money, not when we're fighting, but conversations around money, discussing where money comes from, how to invest it, when we're investing it, why we're investing it. Because I think my tip is the worst thing we're doing to our children is making it not something that we discuss. So that one day when they've got to do it, they say, you know what, I don't do money. And guess what? Money enables everything we do. So best we learn how to have a relationship with it and how to work with it.
Kim, thank you. It's been an absolute treat chatting to you today. In closing, I love the phrase that you mentioned in one of your keynote addresses. Make money your servant and not your master. So thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.